What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about the newest season of Stranger Things. So if you remember my last video, it was right after Stranger Things 4 Volume 1 had been released, but I didn't really talk about it because, well, I wanted to wait till the whole season was out. So it has been 9 days since Volume 2 was released, and I think we all, as fans, had to process it. Even I'm still processing it, and I kind of have issues with the Duffer Brothers, bro. It's a lot to talk about, and like I said, I have issues with the Duffer Brothers about how characters were handled, but we'll get into it. So before we start the video, I do have a couple of announcements. So first off, I have all new socials, as in Facebook and Instagram. My Snapchat and email are still the same. Because about a month and a half ago, almost 2 months now, I think, I got hacked. It's unfortunate. Happens all the time. But yeah. So I'll link those in the description below. Second, on the week of the 23rd, so that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you will be getting entirely new content from me because Shy, Cam, and I are going on a trip to St. Louis for a concert, and we are kind of creating like a little travel vlog for you guys so we can stop and see how things are. Yeah. Also, I am excited to announce, finally, my own photography project. I know I've said it before, but the last one had to be scrapped due to several issues. Don't really want to get into it, but it just needed scrapped and reworked. So it is called New View Photography Studios, and I can link the description or the socials to that in the description below. And if you guys ever need photos or anything like that taken, I'm your person. Anyway, so now that I've taken like the first taken the first 3 minutes of this video to kind of like talk about announcements and stuff, we can finally get into it. And it took me a long time to kind of sort through everything that I had to say. So first we are going to talk about the character arc and the new characters and the old characters we meet, because there's a lot of it, and as our guy would say, hold on to your butts, brochachos, because this shit is about to get crazy. He doesn't say that second part, but I digress. So season 4 takes place in 4 different places: California, Nevada, Russia, and Hawkins. And they kind of go to Utah too to talk with Susie. But yeah. We are introduced to a ton of new characters, both good and bad, and obviously, we obviously see the old characters and where they've come after the end of season 3, which that shit was fucking traumatizing. Like, I was like, the fuck? But anyway, so let's start with Hawkins, because that's obviously like the main place, since Hawkins is where like the main gang is. My cat is sitting on my laptop case. Love that. So let's meet the newbies. So first off, we have the guidance counselor, Miss Kelly. She kind of talks. We meet her when she's with Max. I mean, she's kind of weird to me. Like, I don't like the vibes she gives. She's really pretty, don't get me wrong. But like, the fact that she talked with most of the people who were cursed by Vecna, so Chrissy, Fred, Max, they all talked with Miss Kelly, and she also had a clock around her neck. I just think that she's going to play a big part in season 5. Obviously, she's still alive, I think. We don't really see her after the first couple of episodes. But yeah, I think it's just really weird that she kind of had a connection with all of the victims. I think Vecna is definitely going to use her in season 5. So, no thanks. I'm not dealing with that bullshit. Second, we meet Chrissy Cunningham. And I'm not going in order of appearance. I'm just going in order of what I remember. Chrissy Cunningham, she is the head cheerleader. And I loved her. Grace did an amazing job playing her. The emotion we see from her character just like blew my mind how well she played him. I absolutely loved her, and I feel like she could have had so much potential, but unfortunately Chrissy was the first victim of Vecna. Her trauma was, I believe, anorexia or something like that, of eating disorder or something, and a lot of self-image issues that was brought on by her mother. So yeah, at least I think that's what the trauma was from what I could tell. If I'm wrong, please correct me down below, because I want to make sure I'm putting out actual accurate information out. Next we meet Fred. He is he's a journalist friend of Nancy's, and he does accompany Nancy to the crime scene after Chrissy is killed in another character's trailer. We will talk about that in a second. Let me pause right here to let you guys know, major spoilers. If you guys have not seen season 4, please click off now, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. So if you haven't seen it, pause here and leave. Fred was unfortunately the second victim of Vecna, and he was killed off by episode 2 or 3, I think. His trauma was he had gotten in a car accident that killed another student, and he blames himself, and people, I guess, were calling him a murderer for this car accident, and that's what Vecna used against him to, if you know what I mean. And the fact that Vecna did what he did to those students in that horrific way literally just made me want to vomit. I literally threw up the first time I watched it. I was like, what the fuck is this? So, obviously, with Chrissy and Fred, there's not a lot to say about them since they died in the first 2 episodes, but the actors did an amazing job with that. I think that was great. Thirdly, we are going to be covering Jason Carver. Jason is Chrissy's boyfriend, and he's a basketball player. And since we are talking about Jason, we have to talk about Patrick, and Patrick was the third victim of Vecna. Not really sure what his trauma was, because, not really sure. Something about his dad, I think, and not his dad not liking something. Probably his grades. Jason is the head jock and complete and utter asshole. Just straight up. I personally speaking, I think Jason is more hated than Vecna because of the fact that because Chrissy died and he was grieving, he wanted to be the hero, but at the same time was a complete asshole to everybody. And he just completely thought Eddie did it. And even though he knew, I feel like he knew after Patrick died that it was not Eddie, because Eddie was technically not present. He fell into the water, all of that. But the fact that he convinced everyone that Eddie was it and started a manhunt for him was just not great. And he was just, he also broke Max's Walkman by accident. I think he stepped on it, and therefore Max did technically die from Vecna. So I feel like if Jason hadn't shown up, Max might have been able to survive. So, yeah. But his death was not all that bothersome to me. He did die in the end after Max died, and like the gates opened and Hawkins had the earthquake. He was unfortunately ripped apart, literally, and then got incinerated. His death didn't all that matter to me because honestly, he was an asshole, and most of the fans hated him. So I'm not saying that it was the actor's fault. The actor did a great job, so kudos to him because you did a great job. Yeah. And finally, you guys have heard me mention him already, Eddie Munson. He was the fan favorite of the season from a lot of, not only my personal opinion, but from what I've seen on social media and all of that. So he's the leader of the Hellfire Club, the guitarist of Corroded Coffin, and Dustin's new BFF, which, in my opinion, Steve is totally jealous of. He became the fan favorite. He is also a victim targeted for being different, which made a lot of people connect with him because he was considered a freak for liking heavy metal music and playing a fantasy game and all of that. And he is quickly hunted by the town because Chrissy died in his trailer, which I understand, but still. Which made a lot of people connect with him because a lot of people were all different in our own ways, and I feel like a lot of people connected with him. I connected with him because, I like heavy metal, and I'm a girl, and people don't expect girls to like heavy metal music. If you are one of those people who think girls shouldn't be listening to heavy metal, get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. Now, this is where I said I had issues with the Duffer Brothers because I feel like Eddie would have had a whole lot more potential alive. And the fact that he is now dead, I feel like he could have done a whole lot more. So Duffer Brothers, I hope you find a way to bring him back in season 5 because I'm going to riot if you don't. This is for you. But while he did die, his death was very heroic. He died protecting Dustin and the others by drawing the bats away. And as Dustin said, he died protecting a town that hated him. And obviously you can tell that the town did not like him for how they reacted after he was missing by drawing like the devil horns on his missing poster and all of that, which was kind of really sad. And the fact that the Duffer Brothers didn't show how the others reacted after Eddie died just also even made it even worse for me because that's time, motherfucker. That's just something that didn't sit well with me. And now let's cover the rest of them. So that's kind of we've covered all of the characters, the new characters anyway, from the Hawkins crew. So we're going to cover the old ones, or the new ones from the other ones. So from the California crew, we kind of meet two new characters, really main characters. First, we have Angela. She is Eleven's bully, and she just doesn't like 11 for some weird reason. She's a total bitch. And 11 finally snaps and just whacks her in the face with a roller skate. And yeah. I am surprised that Angela did not see that coming because, shit, that's how I would have retaliated. I would have hit her in the face, too. She's just, She's mean. She's just mean, too. Like, I think she just didn't like 11 because 11 was different than her. So, if you gotta bully people to be popular, then you don't deserve to be popular. And then we have Argyle. Argyle is fucking hilarious. Argyle is Jonathan's stoner friend who they like constantly just smoke weed together. He's quite funny. He provides the comedic relief that we need in this season because this season was dark and heavy. And I really liked him because he did offer a lot. He works at Surfer Boy Pizza, so he's a pizza boy. And has this long ass hair. His hair's like down to like here. Like probably a little bit longer than that. But anyway. Yeah. Argyle is a good guy. He also proves that because he does all of this. He drives them around. He takes them to school without really being asked. He saves them from the shootout with the military, helps them hide a dead body, although he does freak out about that, and drives them to Utah. He also provides the freezer and the salt to help 11 save Max. So, like, he did all of this with no question. That proves that he's a genuinely good person and willing to do almost anything for his friends. So, like, I hope we see more of him in season 5. I really do, because he was absolutely amazing. And from Russia. So, yeah. Russia, we meet Enzo. He is a prison guard who is working with Hopper to free him. And he kind of he risks a lot to help Hopper escape. Because the Russians in this season are absolutely ruthless. This guy would have died. And he almost did die. Because he tried to free Hopper. So, he's also another proof that good guys do exist in a world full of shitty people. So yeah, kind of covered all of the bases there. So now that we've met all of the new characters, let's talk about the old ones. Because obviously the old ones are absolutely essential. So, some people talking about a couple of other characters. Obviously, we meet Susie again. We see her in a couple of episodes. In the first episode, we see her changing Dustin's grades to help him pass, I guess. And then we meet her again in like episode 4 or 5, where she helps them find 11, and we kind of see the environment she's living in, which, you go girl, like I wouldn't be able to live in a house like that, honestly. And then, shocker, Dr. Brenner came back. I thought, for many of you who are dedicated Stranger Things fans like myself, Dr. Brenner was 11's papa in episode 1, and we thought 11 killed him. Guess not. So he comes back this season. He's working closely with Dr. Owens to try to help 11 bring her powers back. Unfortunately, or not fortunately, he dies in season 4. In episode 8, he just kind of got shot up, literally. So he got shot up, and unfortunately, the wounds killed him. I think the only time we may see him next season is if they do another flashback. So yeah. So those are 2 characters from previous seasons who played minor but major roles in this season as well. And so we're going to obviously check up on the other characters, starting with Max Mayfield, because she also did play a huge part this season. She was one of the people who was cursed by Vecna. Unfortunately, she was the 4th victim for a brief minute. She got cursed by Vecna from the trauma of losing her brother in the last season, Billy. Obviously, there's an episode titled Dear Billy, where she kind of pours out her feelings before she meets Vecna for the first time. She ends up dying in the last episode, only for a minute, because of, I feel like Jason, and Lucas wasn't there to help her because he was fighting Jason. But, so like I said, I blame Jason for what happened to Max. Because if he wasn't there, Lucas might have been able to get the headphones on to save her. But, so she's got a lot going on. I mean, her and Lucas were supposed to go on a movie date, and obviously we don't know if that's going to happen or not, because as season 4 ended, Max is in a coma. We don't know what is going to happen to her, but the Duffer brothers said she's alive, but she's dead. She's brain dead, technically. So yeah, obviously since we're talking about Lucas, we are going to cover Lucas and Erica. Erica joined Hellfire as a sub for Lucas and won the hearts of the Hellfire Club by rolling a critical hit, 20, and plays a role in defeating Vecna. Obviously, she helps the Max, Dustin, and Lucas escape by stabbing the tires of the police officer. Don't do that, by the way. Just because characters do it does not mean that you should do it. And she was very smart, quick-witted, everything we expect from Erica Sinclair. And she did amazing. I love her. She's one of my favorite characters, actually. And as for Lucas, I feel like he did a really big 180 from how he started at the beginning of the season to where it seemed like he only really cared about basketball, he just wanted to get in with the popular kids, to being, and he was I feel like he was a really small asshole to Mike and Dustin, but I don't blame him, honestly, because he just wanted to be himself, and he felt like being a freak or a nerd was not who he was. He was tired of being bullied and stuff, but he kind of jumped into a bully's position, but he did help the Hawkins High School basketball team win the championship, so big thing for him. But he ended up coming back to his real friends and helping them helped everyone defeat Vecna. He went as far as feeding false information to Jason and the gang and beat the ever-living shit out of Jason. Like, just jock-on-jock violence, in my opinion. And he also did play a small role in saving Max. A major role in saving Max. Definitely, you could tell he really deeply cares for Max, for how he reacted while she was dying and afterwards. As for both of the Sinclair siblings, they are alive, but we don't really know what's going to happen to them in the next season. Caleb did an amazing job, especially with the Max scene where he's like full on sobbing. That was absolutely amazing. Like, chef's kiss amazing. So now we're going to talk about two major characters, Mike and 11. I'm kind of grouping these together to speed up a little bit. So they're both alive, obviously. Relationship issues, again. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like their relationship is kind of toxic. And it's kind of been that way since like the end of season 2, beginning of season 3. Mike is clueless to basically anything but Elle. But he's also really protective of her, which is really sweet. He ends up saving Elle when she's like piggybacking in Max's mind from Vecna by confessing his love for her. So not only does he help save 11, but he also in turn helps saving Max because Elle was able to revive Max, and if Mike hadn't done that, in my opinion, Elle might not have been able to be there to save him or save her. So more good boy points, but I I don't think either Elle or Mike might not make it out of season 5. I don't know though. So, Will Byers is the next one. And to be completely honest with you, let me start. Poor Will, honestly. He has been through so much. Like, it's not even funny. If Will becomes evil in season 5, I'm 100% for it. Like, just to be straight up. He has been through so much, especially with, obviously, disappearing in season 1. Dealing with it, he was flayed in season 2. Season 3, all he wanted to do was hang out with his friends, and he kept getting ditched. Season 4, he was kind of going through his feelings, trying to realize what his feelings were for Mike. All of that. And he's constantly being friend-zoned by Mike, too, which is horrible. That poor baby. Like, but honestly, I hope they either make him evil and he gets what he gives people what they deserve, or the Duffer Brothers give him a happy ending. I really think Will deserves a happy ending because he's tired of all of this. He's been basically ignored for the past 2 seasons, which fucking sucks. He's been there for Mike. Mike was his best friend, and now he's being replaced by 11. I don't like it. But as of the end of season 4, Will is still alive, obviously. So, still gay as ever, though. You go, boy. You go. He walked so the rest of us could fucking run. Just so you know. It just made me so mad, man. Like, this poor boy. Noah Schnapp. Kudos to you, my guy. Because you did absolutely amazing. Moving on to Steve and Robin. Okay, so both of them work at Family Video now. Robin is dealing with her own feelings. Also, she's also lesbian. And she's dealing with those. Steve's dating around again, trying to get his high schoolness back, which, stop it. Stop it, Steve. You don't need a woman to make you happy. You have a best friend for a reason. So definitely, still the best duo out there, in my opinion. They both helped defeat Vecna. Steve was a little bit of an asshole to Eddie, in my opinion, especially where he told him, don't pull anything, don't be cute, you're just decoys, you're not heroes. Like, come on, man, you all played a part in defeating Vecna. Relax a little bit. And I feel like, but they're both still alive, and I'm excited to see where season 5 is going to go with them. They are literally still the best duo. Honestly. So obviously moving on to that, we're going to talk about the other older kids, Nancy and Jonathan. Again, both are alive, both still struggling with their relationship because Jonathan is still lying to Nancy. Nancy has trust issues, which totally understand, but she's still a certified badass. So, Jonathan, either you start stepping up and you treat her better, or she's gonna dump your ass, just like 11 did to Mike in season 3. You don't want that. Yeah. I mean, Jonathan doesn't really want to leave his mom and his brother, which I understand, but also you're leading Nancy on, so you might want to fess up and kind of tell her you had several opportunities to do that, so why didn't you? I get it, you're scared that you're going to lose her, but if she finds out that you lied to her, that's not going to end well. So honestly, right now, I feel like since there's a time jump at the end of between the end of season 4 and the beginning of season 5, I'm almost 90% sure that Nancy and Jonathan are gonna break up because Nancy's done with his bullshit. Anyway, so we're moving on to Hopper, Joyce, and Murray. So they're all still alive as far as I know. I mean, we didn't really see much of Murray in the last couple, like, last bit of the episode. But Joyce and Hopper made out, so, like, after 6 years, we were kind of wanting that. I don't really know if they're together now. I think they are. But they're all in Hawkins ready to fight Vecna and finish it off. So that's good. Murray and Joyce, their friendship in this season was absolutely gold. Absolute gold. I loved it. Again, they were like another comedic duo that we needed. So, yes. So now that we've talked about all the characters, let's talk about the episodes themselves. And I'm sorry, guys, this is a longer video. Each episode is over an hour long, with the final episode being almost 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and 19 minutes long. So, oh boy, hold on 1 second. Okay, I had a little technical difficulty here. So obviously, the first one is called the Hellfire Club, and it starts with it starts 4 years before the first episode of season 1, where Dr. Brenner is experimenting on children possessing supernatural abilities until a mysterious incident kills all of them. I'm kind of just going to slide this over now. Except 11. In 1986, 8 more years later, 11 is in California dealing with the loss of her powers and routinely is bullied by other students. Joyce receives a porcelain doll in the mail, seemingly from Russia, and finds a hidden note stating that Hopper is alive. So, shocker, first off. Hold on, I'm gonna just pull it up because it's being stupid. So, let me go here real quick. It's being stupid, so bear with me. So obviously the first episode takes place in 1986 after the flashback, 8 months after the event of Starcourt Mall, where Hopper supposedly died and Billy died. Joyce, Will, and Jonathan and 11 have all moved to California, where 11 struggles with the loss of her powers and is routinely bullied by other students. Joyce receives a porcelain doll in the mail, seemingly from Russia, and finds a hidden note inside stating that Hopper is alive. Shocker, we all knew Hopper was alive. It was one of the first things they teased when it was first announced that season 4 was happening. And Hawkins, Mike, and Dustin have joined their school's Hellfire Club, a Dungeons & Dragons game club led by eccentric Eddie Munson. As a result, they miss seeing Lucas win the basketball team's championship game, and Max, who has broken up with Lucas, struggles to grieve Billy's death. Chrissy Cunningham, a student on the cheerleading team, is haunted by visions of her family and a chiming grandfather clock. While buying drugs from Eddie, Chrissy is possessed and killed by a sentient humanoid creature from her visions. So, holy shit, that episode was intense. I'm just kind of covering all the major plot points, because otherwise we'd be sitting here for 2 hours, and you don't want to listen to me talk for 2 hours. That's boring. And so, that's where episode 1 ends, with Chrissy's death. Chapter 2 is called Vecna's Curse, so that's kind of where we start to see what the humanoid creature is. And it's funny because Eddie had actually described what Vecna looked like, kind of, before he, in their D&D game, which is something that the Duffer Brothers do constantly. The Duffer Brothers are the kings of foreshadowing. So, episode 2 opens with Hopper. Hopper has survived the explosion underneath Starcourt Mall, but was captured by Soviet soldiers and sent to a prison camp in Kamchatka. I think I butchered that, but bear with me. I don't know Russian. Joyce and Murray call the phone number on the note she was sent and speak to Dmitry Ontov. So, Dmitry, not Enzo. My bad. Enzo was the name on the note, so. a prison guard that Hopper has bribed. Antov has them deliver a $40,000 ransom to his contact in Alaska. Mike flies to California to visit Eleven, where he and Will witness her being bullied by her classmate, Angela. Eleven eventually retaliates by striking Angela in the face with a roller skate. Max tells Dustin how she saw Eddie run away the night Chrissy died. Along with Robin and Steve, they locate the traumatized Eddie and explain the Upside Down to him. Eddie and Dustin name the entity that killed Chrissy Vecna. Nancy and her fellow reporter investigate Chrissy's death. Eddie's uncle tells Nancy he believes the killer is Victor Creel, a Hawkins resident who was institutionalized after allegedly murdering his family in the 1950s. Fred is lured into the woods by visions of a girl he accidentally killed before Vecna murders him. Yikes. And that's where episode 2 kind of ends. That's the last major event. But I'm trying to break all of these down into quick little bullet points, because otherwise, like I said, we'd be sitting here forever. Episode 3 is called The Monster and the Superhero. Sam Owens is visited by U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonial Jack Sullivan, who believes Eleven is responsible for Chrissy's death. Eleven is arrested for assaulting Angela, but is taken by Owens, who explains that Hawkins is in grave danger and that he has been working for a program to help bring back Eleven's powers. Eleven agrees to go with him. Joyce and Murray fly to Alaska to deliver the ransom for Hopper. Hopper bribes a fellow inmate to break his shackles using a sledgehammer. Nancy and Robin go to the library to look up information about Victor Creel and discover that Creel blames his family murders on a demon, which they believe to be Vecna. Jason leads the basketball team to hunt for Eddie, believing him to have killed Chrissy, but Lucas abandons them. Max recalls that Chrissy had visited the school council before being killed by Vecna. She steals Chrissy and Fred's files from the counselor's office and learns they suffered from PTSD symptoms similar to hers. Max hears Vecna call her name and envisions a grandfather clock. And that's where episode 3 ends. Whew! Max is in for a tough season, man. I mean, she broke up with Lucas. She's dealing with all this PTSD. Students are dying and they have similar symptoms to her. And then Vecna comes and just makes everything a million times worse for her. And then episode 4 is called Dear Billy. Joyce and Murray deliver the ransom payment to Antov's contact, Yuri, but he drugs them, planning to turn them and Hopper and Antov over to the Russians for a larger profit. Hopper escapes the prison camp, but is soon recaptured. Jonathan, Mike, and Will prepare to sneak away from Wallace and Harmon, agents sent by Owens to watch them, but armed soldiers attack the house. They escape with the help of Jonathan's friend Argyle, bringing an injured Harmon with them. Nancy and Robin interview an imprisoned Victor Creel, who recounts his family being tormented and killed by supernatural forces while he was arrested for their deaths. Max, fearing that Vecna is about to kill her, writes letters to her friends and family and goes to the cemetery to read her letter to Billy by his gravestone. She is soon possessed by Vecna and finds herself at an altar inside his mind. Steve, Dustin, and Lucas learn from Nancy and Robin that playing music can break Vecna's spell, and they play Max's favorite song, Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, on a cassette tape. This opens a portal through which Max nearly escapes Vecna's control. And then for the rest of the season, you see her with her headphones on practically every time you see her. Or like around her neck, so she doesn't lose it. This is a lot, bear with me, I am sorry. Episode 5 is called The Nina Project, and this is kind of where we learn more about 11. A lot more. So, Owens takes 11 to an abandoned ICBM silo in Nevada, where he and Dr. Brenner have developed a specialized isolation tank dubbed Nina that will allow 11 to access memories of her time with the other children and Hawkins' lab. 11 attempts to escape and briefly regains her powers in the process, convincing her to continue the experiment. In California, before Agent Harmon dies, he gives the boys a pin containing a phone number for the Nina Project that connects to a modem. Mike decides to enlist the aid of Dustin's girlfriend Susie in Salt Lake City. After Yuri's betrayal, Hopper is imprisoned alongside Antov. While flying to Russia, Joyce and Murray subdue Yuri and crash land in the wilderness. Max, Lucas, Steve, and Dustin regroup with Nancy and Robin and decide to investigate the Creel house. Inside, they encounter flickering lights, which they trace to Vecna's movements in the Upside Down. Jason and his teammates, locate Eddie while trying to escape in a boat at Lover's Lake. Jason and Patrick swim after him, and in the water, Vecna kills Patrick in front of Jason and Eddie. This man is freaking ruthless, my guy. Freaking ruthless. Like, holy shit. Sorry, distracted easily. And then we move on to episode 6, The Dive. 11 relives memories of befriending a lab orderly who warns her not to trust Brenner. She also recalls being ostracized by other test subjects, leading her to believe she was responsible for the lab massacre. Susie helps Mike's group locate the Nina Project's coordinates. Hopper and the other inmates are given a large feast, in which Hopper warns is to prepare them to be fed to the Demogorgon. So yes, Russians had captured a Demogorgon. Don't know how, but it happened. He manages to pickpocket a lighter, recalling that the Demogorgon's weakness is fire. Joyce and Murray force Yuri to take them to a nearby town where he stores his goods and decide to have Murray pose as Yuri to infiltrate the prison. Jason galvanizes Hawkins' residents at a town hall meeting against Eddie's supposed satanic cult. Steve's group finds Eddie. Dustin notices his compass misbehaving and realizes there must be a new gate to the Upside Down nearby. They trace the gate to Lover's Lake, where Steve dives down to inspect it before being yanked into the Upside Down by a tendril and swarmed by bat-like creatures. Nancy, Robin, and Eddie dive down after him. And so, yeah, shit's getting intense, mother effers. Episode 7 is called The Massacre at Hawkins' Lab. Joyce, Murray, and Yuri enter Camacha and witness Hopper and his fellow prisoners fighting the Demogorgon. Hopper holds the creature back with a flaming spear, while Murray and Joyce subdue the guards and open the prison doors, allowing Hopper and Antov to escape. Joyce and Hopper reunite, very lovingly. Dustin, Lucas, and Erica theorize that Vecna has spawned a gate at the site of each of the murders, which they communicate to Steve's group in the Upside Down. Both parties reunite inside Eddie's trailer at the gate of where Chrissy died. Robin and Eddie safely exit, but Vecna possesses Nancy. She discovers that he is Victor Creel's son, Henry, who killed his mother and sister with his psychokinetic powers before falling into a coma and being placed in Brenner's care. Henry became Subject 01, so 1, essentially, in Brenner's attempts to replicate his powers, and later the orderly that 11 befriended. 11 finally remembers Henry committing the lab massacre and trying to kill her when she refused to help fulfill his murderous ambitions. 11 overpowered Henry and sent him into the Upside Down, where he became Vecna. Okay, that was confusing for me. I was like, okay, so this guy is this guy, and this guy is this guy, and they're all the same person. What? It was funny, for me anyway. And so, that's where Volume 1 ends. And Volume 2, which is the final 2 episodes, didn't come out until 9 days ago. which was torturous to wait for. Literally torturous to wait for. Chapter 8 is titled Papa. Vecna shows Nancy a vision of the future where Hawkins is torn apart by rifts before releasing her. Nancy recalls her experience to the others, and they determine Vecna needs 4 gates to enact his plan. Max offers to lure Vecna so the others can attack him while he is distracted. 11, using his powers, or her powers, learns of this plans and gets Owens to arrange transit to Hawkins. However, Brenner secures Owens and traps 11, insisting she needs to complete her training. 11 realizes that Brenner had been using her for years to try to recover Henry from the Upside Down and not just to uncover Soviet secrets as Brenner had claimed. Sullivan and his forces arrive at the site and kill all of the staff. Brenner frees with 11 but is shot himself. 11 takes out Sullivan's vehicles just as Mike's group arrives. She refuses to forgive Brenner before he dies. In Russia, Hopper, Joyce, Murray, Yuri, and Antov escape the base after discovering several more creatures from the Upside Down, as well as a shadowy fragment of the Mind Flayer under study at the prison. So, the Russians are pretty bad. They're a no-no. They are a big no-no. Don't want to fuck with them at all. And then, yeah, that's where episode 8 ends. And the final episode, which is 2 hours and 19 minutes long, is called The Piggyback. The group enacts their plan. Max, Lucas, and Erica go to the Creel house while Steve, Nancy, and Robin go into its upside-down counterpart to attack Vecna, with the bats being drawn away by Dustin and Eddie. Eddie sacrifices himself in the process. So Eddie went... Knowing Vecna will invade Max's mind, 11's group creates an isolation tank for her to enter Max's mind and piggyback into Vecna's mind to fight Vecna. However, Vecna overwhelms her and possesses Max, revealing to 11 that he has controlled the Upside Down ever since she had sent him there. Mike professes his love to 11, giving her the strength to break Vecna's control over Max, but Max dies from her injuries. Hopper, Joyce, and Murray re-enter the prison and kill the remaining Demogorgons, weakening Vecna. Steve, Robin, and Nancy set Vecna's physical form ablaze and shoot him, apparently killing him. 11 uses her powers to resurrect Max, but the latter's brief death allows Vecna's gates to open and tear through Hawkins. 2 days later, the town is recovering from an earthquake. Everyone reunites while Max remains comatose. Will senses Vecna is alive, and the Upside Down begins invading Hawkins. And that's where the final episode ends. So, Hawkins will fall in season 5, unfortunately, because season 5 is going to be the last episode, or the last season. So, prepare for that, mother effers. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.